All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. So today we've got something a little special. Three dedicated lifelong music collectors joining me to talk about our favorite albums from the 1970s. The idea is that people watching this will hopefully find some new music to check out. So we've kind of stayed away from, I would say, most of the popular choices and maybe taking a slightly off the beaten track. So from Singapore, we've got Ravi. From Japan, we've got Saket. And from Calcutta, we've got Avik, who was also on the channel earlier. So hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello guys, nice to finally see you guys again.
Okay, so my selections from 1970s are not the usual suspects because we have talked about Led Zeppelins and Eric Clapton's and Deep Purple's and Pink Floyd's a lot of time. We have talked about these albums to death. So I'll take a little, detour, and I'll talk about the albums which are obscure and underground, mostly from Europe. But I have included one from Japan also. The first will be one of my Desert Island discs, which is an album of a band called T2.
TT2, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so it's a British band, and this album was released on Decca in 1970, and as you can imagine that because of the other heavyweights like Zeppelin and Purple and all Pink Floyds, this album got overshadowed. But trust me, this is a gem. This is an album by a power trio which played progressive rock in heavier manner, like heavy progressive. I mean, it's progressive rock, but not played in symphonic music like Yes or Genesis or King Crimson. It's heavier. It's played by a power trio. So this album is called "It'll All Work Out in Boomland," and it was released by Decca in 1970. And as you can imagine, it's almost impossible to score a decent copy of the original, either in UK pressing. UK pressing is almost next to impossible, but it was released in Japan also. I think, but that is also too expensive. It's got only 4 songs and 3 on one side, and there is one track called Morning, which is taking up the entire B side. The track which is worth mentioning is a song called "No More White Horses." You can see the video on the YouTube also. It has been released numerous times in recent times, reissued. So this is an Acme reissue. I also have a Decca reissue, which is actually a double LP, and this includes, on the second record, it includes an unreleased album by Decca, which was actually recorded but shelved and rejected by Decca. It's called Fantasy. This is also included, and
wow.
this reissue is also not available these days. So this is the one.
Okay. So my first pick, I'll go in alphabetical order. Secret Treaties, Blue Oyster Cult.
My favorite.
So yeah,
Nice.
same here. For Blue Oyster Cult, for me, this is their masterpiece, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like just a bunch of terrific songs. Starts with Career of Evil, then you've got Dominance and Submission, but for me, it's side B,
Flaming
right?
Telepaths.
KG Cretins, Harvester of Ice, Flaming Telepaths,
And
Astronomy.
Astronomy, yeah.
That's like the perfect hard rock, like what, 25 minutes, 20, 22 minutes?
Yeah.
But just absolutely perfect. So I love this album.
Yeah,
And
this
yeah,
was also
I-
got Subhuman, right?
To add on, Gautam, what you have just said, this album is obviously it's a hard rock album, but it is a concept album also at the same time.
Yeah.
Blue Oyster
Yeah.
Cult is known for writing very intelligent lyrics. And I am very lucky to have seen them live in USA in 2020, and they have played Astronomy in that concert. But the key feature of that concert was the version of 10-minute version of Then Came the Last Days of May, which they have done with 2 guitar solos of around 6 minutes out of 10 minutes, 2 guitar solos. And Bhakt Dharma was amazing. Got to meet him after the concert accidentally, but that's a different story.
Cool. Yeah, Ravi, yeah, Subhuman on side A.
Oh yeah, that's probably one of my favorite BOC songs, and I think I really like it because it marks a huge departure away from the mainly blues-based idiom as far as guitar solos was concerned. It goes off into some really, really interesting sort of musical directions, and you can literally never predict what's going to happen second from second on that solo. Absolutely stunning piece of work.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with
It's been a long time since I have listened to this. I mean, this is my copy.
Are you going to do this for all the picks? Like show off your Japanese pressing
Actually, I mean, so I mean, like whatever I had, yeah.
One thing I would like to add, Gautam, is that the album cover, it's from a pencil sketch originally. Both the front artwork and the back one. And the first 3 albums, that is the self-titled album, Secret Treaties, and the Tyranny and Mutation, these 3 albums are together called the Black and White Era Blue Oyster Cult. And it's considered to be the best, the first 3 albums.
Totally.
Yeah, but is that your favorite Black?
Mine, yeah. This is my favorite, yeah.
Mine
to be honest, after this, I think I like a few songs here and there, but not like an entire album by then. But the first 3, superb stuff. But I think what Ravi was saying, about how unpredictable they were. But I think over the years, they became a little more conventional in their rock-based songwriting. But the first 3 albums were like, holy shit.
And while we are on this subject, just to tell you that they are in the month of September playing 3 concerts I think in the New Year area only. And they're playing the 3 albums in entirety, one on each day. The first day we'll have the self-titled album plus the other hits. The second day we'll have the Tyranny and Mutation plus the other songs. And the third day they will have the Secret Treaties and the other songs. So the diehard fans, they have, it's the 3 shows are already sold out because the original members are also joining, some of them. And they want to enjoy all the 3 albums live.
So you are going?
Unfortunately, I'll be going in the last leg of September, so I'll be missing that. But I'm catching the other 6 concerts.
Okay, nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Ravi, you're next.
Oh yeah, me? Okay, I'm doing this sequentially. So my first pick is from 1971, I think. It's Alice Cooper Killer.
Nice. Yeah.
I think I paid a little extra to get the edition that had the the kind of gatefold sleeve. Now, if this had been the absolute super expensive fuck you edition, it would have had the calendar, and here, this is it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I've never seen this here before. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of vinyl. We are talking about...
When was this reissued? Which year is it?
This isn't the reissue. This is the original. So basically...
Oh, that's original. Okay.
Yeah. So I paid a fuck ton of money for this, but it's one of my all-time favorite albums. So, completely worth it. And just the total package is incredible. And this is, of course, one of my absolute favorite albums. I think it's got some of his best songs. I think some of them are still on his set list. And just the entire segue between Dead Babies and the title track is insane. And no matter how many times I've heard it, and I've been hearing this album ever since I think the late 90s when I first got it on CD, the entire, if you heard the album, the entire electric chair segment always gets you, the part where the killer is supposed to be strapped into the electric chair and killed, executed. Absolutely amazing album.
Yeah, this was one of the first CDs I got. This, along with Dire Straits' On Every Street. On Every Street, I have no idea where it is, but this one I still have. But for some reason, I never got the record.
Yeah.
But damn, that edition looks damn cool.
Yeah. On Every Street, I'm digressing a little, but am I the only person who thinks that Dire Straits completely ripped off Delivering the Goods for Heavy Fuel? They not just ripped it off, they made it I find that song actively offensive.
Heavy Fuel, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get Delivering the Goods vibes. But I think this is like the first time anybody's compared Judas Priest and Dire Straits.
No, just check the riffs out, especially the part in Delivering the Goods immediately after the solo. That's identical to the riff that Heavy Fuel is built around. And it being Mark Knopfler, he just plays the same riff over and over. So, it's going to be the easiest comparison test ever. So, yeah, what else did I have to say about Killer? So apparently, I think you have Desperado, which is, I think, written as a kind of tribute to Jim Morrison, who I think died while they were recording this album. And it's one of those albums that I honestly think deserves the record treatment, because I've yet to hear a CD issue of this that doesn't sound like total dog shit. So, it's definitely worth tracking down and forking out the cash for.
Yeah.
I actually picked up my copy along with $1 Million Baby and $1 Million and this one I bought from Music Circle.
$1 Million Babies.
Yeah, from Music Circle in Mumbai. He had he had a copy each, and it was like a late 70s reissue. But yeah, I got that from him.
Yeah, I have the quadrophonic mix of $1 Billion Babies. Which
I have the same one. Yes.
Yeah,
I have the same quadrophonic one. Yeah.
Yeah, despite the fact that I don't have a quadrophonic system, it sounds fairly interesting. And the other Cooper rarity I have is the original issue of School's Out, the infamous Panties edition.
Yeah.
It basically ships with a pair of, paper panties that were kind of strapped onto the record, and the way you get the record out is also a little unconventional, because it
is inside that thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to represent a school desk, and you kind of open it up and gently slip the record out. I just took the record out and kept it separately because, you don't want it getting scratched. Yeah, that was, I think, one of the most expensive records I ever got. Luckily, my wife was feeling generous and bought it for me. So, yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good pressure. Yeah. Okay. So for me, first one is this one. Gentle Giant in a Glass House. So this came out in 1973. And this is, I think, it's a bit close, but I think this is my favorite Gentle Giant. It's probably the most complex. And so they were, they are known for, their vocal, harmonies. And this album has very few vocal harmonies. But I mean, the biggest thing what I find different here are the riffs. The riffs are really, I mean, even though the song structure is complex and everything else, but the riffs are really, I mean, a little bit more straightforward. I mean, even though the time signatures are there, but the riffs are a bit more, they keep a certain time, and that I think keeps it a bit very, I mean, engaging. And yeah, so that I think is very like unique about this album. And yeah, I mean, but in general, yeah, this is something that I've been probably, this is the most listened Gentle Giant. I mean, this is the Gentle Giant album that I've listened to the most. So probably that could be also a factor. But yeah, I mean, this album was not released in the US until 2004. This was because, yeah, I mean, their label, I guess, just said this is not something that we can sell in the US.
Oh, it wasn't Vertigo in UK.
Yeah. In the US, it was a different label. I don't remember, but it was not Vertigo. Yeah. But this was only reissued for the first time in the US in 2004. So yeah, I mean.
But their own level is very good, the Alucard level.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and this vinyl has a special special track, the last track. It's called Index. And this is only on the vinyl. And that, I mean, Index is basically roughly 2 to 3 seconds of each song.
Oh.
I mean, exactly like how the word sounds, like, I mean, Index. It's just snippet of each
something
song.
Like a content.
Exactly, yeah. So, and that's only on the vinyl, and yeah, just a fun fact, yeah. But
that's a nice trivia.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, for me.
Yeah, Gentle Giant is my favorite band also, and I love them. They never played simple music, by the way. And the Shulman brothers, they were multi-instrumentalists and amazing. I mean, they are one of the best in the progressive rock, the British progressive rock of 1970s. In the same league of Emerson, Lake and Palmer or King Crimson, in my opinion. Van der Graaf, Generator, Genesis, Yes, and all. Again, masterpiece. It's a debut album by a band called Captain Beyond from 1972, famous for its Deep Purple connection. It's a sort of super group. It has the vocalist Rod Evans from Deep Purple Mark I lineup, and it has Rhino on guitar and Lee Dorman bass. Both of them are from Iron Butterfly, and Bobby Caldwell on drums from the Johnny Winter group. And this is a real masterpiece, again, progressive rock, heavy progressive rock, and with some, sort of shift. The first track is my favorite, the Dancing Madly Backwards. It starts with an odd time signature of 5/4. And that backbeat, if you listen to that backbeat, it really gets you hooked to this album. A real masterpiece.
I think this is a classic. No, I mean, this is also one of my favorites. But
and this is a Japanese pressing, as you have showed earlier also.
Yeah, I think I have the same one. So
I have a reissue also. That also sounds very good.
Yeah, it's quite it's quite heavy. I mean, 1972. Yeah, it's still nice.
Very nice.
What is your take on Rod Evans with Deep Purple?
I
open question.
I love him. I mean, Deep Purple used to sound different in those first 3 albums. Yeah, the Shades of Deep Purple, the Book of Taliesin, and the self-titled album. It was not exactly hard rock, but it was, kind of heavy psychedelic kind of, and very much of progressive sound because of the presence of John Lord. It actually captured the band which was evolving at that time. So Rod Evans fitted to that lineup, in my opinion, very well. But they wanted to change direction to, to hard rock after Ian Gillan and Roger Glover joined and the Mark II has started. But it's a different sound altogether. The first 3 albums,
songs were longer and so on. So I actually like that also quite a lot.
Yes.
That era.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, me next, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Doors, LA Woman. Okay, so this was a last minute swap, and so the Doors, I used to absolutely be obsessed with Jim Morrison. This is a very embarrassing story, but yeah, high school, college, it was like, oh my God, Jim Morrison was like Lizard King, God, this, that. Then I completely lost touch with him, and then rediscovered the band again, maybe like 10, 15 years ago. And then it was like the entire band for me, right? Because earlier on it was just all about Morrison, and then later it was the music, the songs, and this album, I think Strange Days is my favorite Doors, but this album is just so dark, and at times like songs like L'America or Cars Hiss by My Window, even the big songs like Riders of the Storm.
Yes, yes.
I mean, there's a
Yeah.
darkness and a heaviness to this album that really gets me every time.
We used to cover these two songs, Yellow Woman and Riders on the Storm, in our IIT band. And there we got to know that when we were actually figuring out the lyrics of LA Woman, when Jim Morrison changes the tempo and he says the Mr. Mojo Rising, right?
Mojo. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
actually the acronym of Jim Morrison.
Mojo
Mr.
Rising.
Mojo
Yeah.
Rising. If you rearrange the words, it will become Jim Morrison.
Yeah. But yeah, killer album.
Which
Do you
pressing?
guys like the Doors? Oh, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
quite a recent pressing, yeah, 2014 maybe, 2014,
Okay.
2015.
Yeah, I got the most recent repress, which is, for what it's worth, cut from the original masters. You know, I think
Uh-huh.
they kind of get you coming and going, right? You buy the remaster, and then you buy the cut from the original.
We had a long debate today on this subject.
Yeah, and then you're like
Maggot
all the
moved
while looking for the original issue as well. So you know, it's a
Yeah.
never-ending cycle. But the new version at least had the kind of yellow inner sleeve, which was, you know, the way
Yeah,
I
which
remember
was
the cover
originally-
being.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, no,
yeah,
but-
that's
Yeah.
cheap
I mean,
thrills.
this is an album that I play quite often. Yeah. I mean, still, like this album, I mean, especially.
Yeah, with me, Strange Days is my favorite, but actually, there's the debut and then there's this one. I mean, I really like the debut as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Debut is, yeah, that's a different masterpiece altogether. Okay.
So who's next?
Ravi, you can.
Ravi?
Yeah, Ravi, you're next.
Oh, yay. So next up from 1972, Squawk by Budgie.
Okay.
Absolutely, heavier than it has any right to be. Incredible double bass drumming on a lot of the songs, like Stranded, which is the last song on the B-side, which is quite an epic kind of song, goes to several different places. Outstanding musicianship, really, really quirky, strange lyrics. Young as the World has some amazing mellotron work on it. Classic 70s album, you know, really, really good.
Fantastic. I really love Budgie. I mean, it's a power trio which is comparable to Rush, the early Rush.
Yeah.
And I used to love Buck Shelley because he sounded same like Geddy Lee, and he had the same role. He was the bass player and he
Yeah.
was the lead vocalist. I really love. My favorite album is Never Turn Back on Your Friends.
Yeah.
But I have the first 5 albums which are essential, and I have 2-3 bootleg LPs of Live in London and BBC sessions which are incredible, and one I think Live in Los Angeles, that is also a bootleg.
Yeah. So I think this is from 1972, but it's, I think, an Australian pressing of the album. And,
Is it by a label called Noteworthy?
No, this is actually MCA.
MCA, okay.
And
That was the
it's-
original level.
Oh, okay, yeah. So essentially, pressed by the manufacturers of Astor radios and radiograms.
Okay.
My God, radiograms. That brings back weird memories.
I'll have to check
And
the
yeah.
Discogs.
Yeah, so this is it. Squawk by Budgie. I think this one is my favorite album by them. I think Never Turn Your Back on Friends has a lot pacier songs, but this one's a sentimental favorite. So yeah.
Budgie used to have, quirky song names like Nude Parachutist Disintegrating Woman or
Yeah.
Hot Under Docker's Armpit.
Yeah, she's as hot as a Docker's armpit.
Hot
Yeah.
under Docker's Armpit, sorry.
Yeah.
No, this is an album that I have not yet listened to.
Oh.
I have only listened to their debut, but nothing after that.
You should check
You should
Squawk out.
collect the first four, Shaket, first five. I mean, including the debut.
Yeah, no,
Up to Bandolier.
Okay, no, I'll check it out. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, over to you,
Over
Sakit.
to you, Shaket.
Yes. Okay. So next one is a bit weird, but I mean, I try to not include anything that I have been listening that I discovered, I mean, over the past 2 or 3 years. I try to keep those albums which I've been listening to like for a long time. And this is a band. There's a bit of a glare. So this band is called, I mean, it's basically kind of like a solo band by this guy. His name is Jiro Inagaki. He's a Japanese, Jiro Inagaki and his Soul Media. So this is the band name. And this was probably the first Japanese band that I, like Japanese rock or progressive rock band that I got into, even before bands like Flower Traveling Band and so on. And this is, I would say, my favorite album by this band. And this came out in 1972, I think. And his most popular album is the one from 1975, and that's called Funky. It's just called Funky, and that is probably his most popular one. But this album is a bit spacey. It's a bit more, ambient. It has some krautrock elements, and you can imagine, Pink Floyd getting a bit more krautrocky, and a bit more, and you have a lot more, weird instruments also here and there. It's quite eclectic in that sense. I mean, this is definitely my go-to album of this band. But this band basically has members who went on to do like a lot of other bands, and especially they branched out into the Japanese jazz scene, jazz funk, scene, and so that's another kind of a complete, offshoot where it becomes, where that's also worth exploring. But this album, is quite is one of my favorites, definitely.
Yeah, there's a store here that actually specializes in this sort of music, so you should definitely look out for this there. It's called Vinyl Kakis, and they have a lot of the Nessie Media stuff, and oddly enough, also a lot of the psychedelic jazz and progressive stuff from Japan in the 70s. So yeah, definitely keep an eye open for this the next time I'm there.
Yeah. Okay. You mean a shop in Singapore?
Yeah, there's a shop in Singapore that kind of specializes in this stuff.
Yeah. No, I got this vinyl. This vinyl was reissued only recently. The originals of these go for really silly money. So it's not even.
Please send us the Discogs link, Shaket, after the meeting.
Yes, I will send.
This album has a fantastic cover art.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'll just. this is a band called 2066 and then, very weird name, but there's a little history behind this band. It's actually the Battle of Hastings, which was fought in 1066, in the year 1066, and then adding 1,000 more years to that. I don't know why. So this is 2066 and then it's a heavy krautrock band and released in 1972. An amazing album. Is, I mean, if you know the genre, heavy progressive, it's actually an interplay of, you know, heavy guitars and organ, which are quite essential in the heavier kind of progressive rock. And this album is a, you know, genre defining album from that era, from Germany. And this is the originals are, it was released on United Artists, but that is, you know, quite out of our radar. So this is a fantastic reissue on a label called Second Battle from Berlin. Second Battle was a used record store in Berlin, but eventually in the 1990s, they have started this small label and they were bringing back the, you know, the lost krautrock albums, lost krautrock gems. So this was one of the earliest releases. It's called Reflection on the Future, Reflection to the Future. So this is a back cover. And this LP is an extended version. I mean, it has a second LP, which also has some outtakes and the live bonus tracks during which was taken during the reunion in 2002-2003. Very highly recommended and very close to my heart. And those days, you know, what used to happen, the krautrock bands, which are more into heavier kind of progressive rock, they used to hire the vocalists from England. I mean, they used to have the British vocalist, which could sing in English. And the other three used to be German. There are many bands like this one. And then Nectar is one. Then there was a band called Odin.
Lucifer's Friend.
Lucifer's Friend had John Lawton of Uriah Heep on vocals.
Yeah.
So all other members used to be German, but the vocalist used to be British. So I highly recommend this album to you guys. You know, it's a fantastic interplay of organ and guitar. You'll really love it. Excellent.
Yeah.
Album.
That artwork itself is very.
Yeah, I wanted to buy it for the artwork only. I used to have the CD. I used to have a blog in 2009, 2010. There, I got to listen to that album for the very first time. Got hooked to the artwork. And then I got this vinyl and started resuming the vinyl collection.
Nice.
Killer.
That's another one I've never heard of.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, same here.
Amazing. Thanks.
Completely new. Awesome.
Over to you, Gautam.
Okay. Yeah. So third pick, Funkadelic, Maggot Brain. So yeah, absolutely. Like Eddie Hazel's guitar solo on the title song, like what one take in the live in the studio, and then after that George Clinton does all the effects and whatever. But holy shit, what a solo! Like just pure feel, right? There was what was it, 8 minutes, however long that solo is, but just ridiculously good. And then the rest of the album as well really just holds up. Sort of socio-political, dark overtones to the lyrics and all of that. You've got like a steady, funky beat. You've got psych rock guitars, and yeah, just absolutely love this album.
Yeah, I think this is not my favorite, I would say, but still I love this. Yeah.
Which is your favorite?
The
Standing
one
on the
before
World.
this. No, the one before this. Free Your Mind.
Free Your Mind. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Over to you, Ravi.
Oh, yeah. So this one's basically, I mean, I couldn't locate my LP, so I guess this will have to do.
Oh,
This is the box set of Lark's Tongue and Aspic by King Crimson, which is probably my favorite album by the band. And they're my all-time favorite band. And yeah, this thing got an absurd number of live shows, and it's particularly interesting because the percussionist Jamie Muir was only there for these sets, and he kind of quit the band after this album. I think even given their history of really strange sounding albums, this one is probably the most out there. The title track, which I don't think they play very often, I think they've kind of brought it back for some of the more recent concerts, is extremely bizarre. And, it kind of subsides into this part where there's just a violin playing for a few minutes, and then it kind of builds up into this really ominous sort of crescendo where you have these voices speaking, and it's apparently a sample from a Scottish radio play called Gallowglass. And at the point when a character in the play says dead, the music kind of peaks. It terrified the crap out of me when I heard it first. I was probably some 17, 18 years old, and I was just completely unused to music like that. And then there's the talking drum, which is again an outstanding instrumental, which just ends with this huge squalling of violins, and probably the mellotron and the guitar all intertwining into each other. Extremely bizarre album. I can't believe quasi-major labels were putting such music out, but well, I guess it was the 70s.
That was the 70s.
Yeah.
The cigarette smoking record executives were there, not the MBAs. So they used to, experiment.
Yeah. This was fantastic.
That's not my words. That was told by Frank Zappa. So I absolutely understand what you're talking about. I've seen King Crimson live in 2019 in Frankfurt with Mel Collins and the 3-drummer setup. And it really blew my mind, and the concert is etched in my mind forever.
So the most fantastic thing about King Crimson was when I was just getting into them, I'd heard first Lockdowns in the Aspic, then I heard Three of a Perfect Pair, which sounded absolutely nothing like this album. And then I heard Track, which was released in the last year that I was in college. And I was amazed because I, at that point, had 3 albums by the band which sounded absolutely nothing like each other. And that was such a thrill, finding a band like that, which had that kind of a spread in its oeuvre. And the most intriguing part about that whole thing was the fact that, I guess in the pre-internet era, you had so little information. So it just kind of sparked your imagination in a way I don't think is possible to do anymore, where so much information, so easily accessible. Whether that's a good or a bad thing is, I guess, a point of, depends on your opinion. I think it's a bit of a bad thing because, I think a lot of the charm of discovery of music was just trying to imagine how inscrutable and alien the people who create the music were, which I think in the era of Facebook, where you can follow your stars and see them goofing about.
That even I
it destroys the mystique completely.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
Over to you.
So over to you, Saket. Sorry, you were saying, Avi, sorry.
No, over to you, Saket. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Okay. So another album from 1972. This one is
wow.
Oh wow, that's Space Shanty.
One of my desert island days.
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned to me, yes. So I think most of you know what this album is, right? So I think it comes under the Canterbury scene. I'm not sure, but it sounds a bit different than the Canterbury scene. Like just the general, the compositions are a bit more, I guess, more spacey as compared to a Canterbury, like say a Caravan or but yeah, this is something that is one of my. It's easily in my top 20, top 30 albums. I mean, of all time. I discovered this roughly about 10 to 12 years ago, and yeah, I got this copy. This is actually quite a hard copy to get, even in Japan.
Yes, yes.
Managed
I've
to get
tried
it.
this on an eBay auction recently. I think
Yeah.
it went up to $70 or something. It had the OBI strip, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I just found it at a record store, and then I mean, here the best thing is that if you keep going to a record store, and then if you go there, I mean, like regularly, then you don't need to go search their entire section. You just go to the new arrivals, and that's where you find all the new stuff that has come over the past 1 week or
Okay.
so. And I just went to the new arrivals. I found this. I think it was the third or the fourth, and I just it was not that expensive actually.
Oh.
So yeah, but yeah, I mean, this is something that yeah, I used to listen to this a lot, but I just listened to it before we made this. I mean, before today. But yeah, this still holds up very well. I mean, the sound recording,
Steve
the entire
Village in peak
structure and the
form.
mood is just very, very nice album. Yeah.
Steve Village in peak form, and it also has Dave Stewart of Egg playing the
Yes.
organ.
Yes.
That combination make the album very special.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of, I basically got the full Steve Village box, which includes his Shanty. So yeah, this was.
It's a vinyl box or CD?
No, it's CDs. It's basically literally everything he did. Lots of live stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Career retrospective.
He's just releasing that Glastonbury album on LP. It was just released yesterday. Yeah. Glastonbury, I think 1979 or something like 1978, late 70s.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that was a slightly traumatic concert for him because he kind of got booed, and I think punk was in the ascendant, and it was pretty much after that he kind of decided to give up on being, guitar god kind of person. So yeah, I guess it's a little bittersweet that he's putting those albums out now.
Yeah, but I think we have had already 3-4 albums from 1972, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think 72 is like the real
breakout
year. And we haven't even talked about the really famous albums that I think Deep Purple or Sabbath. Did Sabbath have one in 72?
Yes.
I don't know. Probably they did.
77,
Yeah.
Tal, we haven't spoken about Tal also.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.